verbal riot.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to VRL. I'm stuttering right now. Welcome to VRL. It's a Thursday. A lot of crazy things have happened this week, and we're going to talk about it. But happy to say I'm not going to be alone today. I do have some special guests. But before I get to those guests, I just want to, I got to do two things first. Number one, I might need to apologize for my stream on Saturday night. As you guys know, who watched that show, I had a little wine in me, and the tongue was a little loose. Might have said some things that I don't remember. But from what I've heard from you guys, most of you, the stream was fun. You liked it a lot. You liked me being candid about who I am and my past and the whole deal. And so I might start doing more of those. Now, here's the thing. I didn't watch the video because I never watched my videos. I have this thing about seeing myself on camera that it makes me cringe. I can't do it. Love you guys for watching me and supporting me, but just for myself, it's hard to watch myself on film. And it's been that way since not just streaming, but even in the film business, the whole deal. I just don't like seeing myself on screen. So I rarely watch my videos unless I need to edit something. But even then, I'm looking for technical issues. I'm not really watching myself perform, if you will. But for those who tuned in Saturday, thank you so much. And you know what? I'm probably going to do a few more of those just because people seem to like them. So why not? The other thing is, I mentioned a Patreon, I think during that stream, and it's coming. It's coming. I had to figure some things out with Patreon. I had to, for some reason, they wouldn't let me go through to my page, but I think I have access now. So the Patreon will be up. And if you guys don't know about this, I'm doing a separate show called Verbal Riot, No Filter. And that's where I could basically say all the things that I can't say on YouTube without getting in trouble. So that show will be, just to let you guys know, a little less entertainment related, more focused on, politics, social issues, just things that I care about outside of entertainment. So if you guys want to subscribe to that once it's up, I'd appreciate it. I think you get a lot out of it, and you get to hear just my point of view from the world of politics. Anyway, it's been a crazy week, guys. It's funny because I was debating on whether or not to have my shows on Thursdays because it seems like kind of late in the week, but I feel like it's kind of perfect because all the crazy stuff happens Monday through Wednesday. All the crazy stuff happens Monday through Wednesday, man. And this week was no exception. In fact, this week was buck wild. And I'm happy to say that I'm not going to be talking about that alone. I got some great guests. I've been wanting to have these ladies on the show for a while. Actually, I've had one of them on a few weeks ago. But another one's it's her first time. And I want you guys to, make them feel loved, man. So first up is, you guys all know her, man. I call her the Princess of Controversy. She's carrying the fate of democracy within her womb right now. And that is our own Anna, that Star Wars girl.
What's up?
Hey, Anna.
Hello. What an entrance. I really want to know what happened on your stream on Saturday.
Oh, yeah. Well,
you're drunk you got drunk into the live stream?
Yeah, what I did was I was just bored and I was home on a Saturday night. And I decided, hey, why just sit here bored when I could stream?
Those are always the best streams. I used to do those myself before I got knocked up.
Yeah, it was actually pretty fun. And you know what? I didn't have any topics on hand. I just spoke about things I did in the past and, why I'm doing this now. And yeah, it was actually pretty cool from what I remember. Like I said, I had a whole bottle of wine in me. So,
also,
we'll see.
It's a fun stream.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Might get in trouble for that one, actually, but we'll see. All right, guys. My next guest, I call her the Queen of No BS. And we've shared many screens together on other people's shows, but this is the first time she is on VRL. So I want you guys to give a warm, no, screw that, give her a hot welcome to VRL, and that is MadamSavvy.
Hello. Happy New Carrie.
Yay! Finally.
Yeah. I've been like I said, the reason why I've been wanting to have you guys on the show, to be honest with you, is because I've been wanting to just talk about gaming with women, right? Because I talk gaming with guys all the time, and we have our opinions, and you guys all know them. But I really want to hear from you guys, man, because I feel like, you know, when we speak out, we're painted as incels. We're painted as, you know, horny guys who are angry that we can't rub one out to the pixelated ladies, right? But how do you guys feel women are being portrayed right now in video games?
Oh, it's
Ugly.
terrible.
Now take it. Take the floor. I want to hear from you guys.
You go first, Savvy.
Okay. Well, I do a lot of these rants very often. But to condense it down, it's an abomination of art. It's a degradation of reality, and it lacks all creativity. To be able to create something, to tell a story, is truly beautiful. And what is going on right now is a very, very tragic. It's just sad. All right. The West does not encourage creativity. And by stating that you have to follow a certain set of rules for characters, that's not imagination. It's control. And it's just sad. And then they're propping all of that bullshit on top of trying to say, we're being good to women. We're championing women. We're gonna save women. Bitch, I didn't ask to be saved. I want my big titty girls. I want Lara Croft to have that nice jiggle physics. I want Tifa to have that badonk because that is inspiring to me. What we see now, like with Concord, not in the slightest. Or the Crimson Chin memes. Those are just
oh, the chin, yes.
It's sad.
The man jaw, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Did
No
you guys
anatomy's
see that
hard,
new
guys.
cinematic?
But
Did you guys see that new cinematic that came out yesterday for Warhammer 40K?
Oh yeah.
that killed it for me.
It's ma'am.
Mhm.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand why they think women, like the average woman, could relate to that.
They can't. It's impossible. We from a visual standpoint, it is literally impossible. Even women with large jaws do not have the jaws that are being portrayed in video games right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's great. Pretty bigotry.
I mean, that's really what it is, right? I mean, they are making it so that if you are an attractive woman, you have no place in gaming.
That's
Yeah.
100% true.
They'll take models, beautiful women, and degrade them for no reason. And that would be so insulting. Like if I was the chick for Star Wars, I would have been pretty upset.
Oh, I would have sued. I
Yeah.
would have sued if I were her.
Yeah, I would have demanded to get pulled out or get changed. I would void the contract. But
Well, it's funny because the ginger guy, it looks exactly like him. And
it
for
looks
all
a little
the
bit
women-
better than him.
You know what? I have that right now, right there.
Perfect.
Look at that. Every single man, every single male character looks exactly like his model. In fact, even the model looks better than that male actor or character or model. If you look at the women, what happened? What happened, man? They did these women dirty.
Yep. And if you call it out, you're a sexist, misogynistic man, baby.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, that's why I feel like, you know, I wanted to have women on the show because I wanted people to hear from women. Because I mean, yeah, they could chalk it up to guys just being pissed off because we can't, you know, be guys, right? But to hear women say it, I think maybe it'd hit different.
Well, no, women like to look at pretty things. Like, why do you think we still have pageants? Why do you think there's still like a Miss America and Miss Universe? Why do you think so many women like Zelda or Lara Croft? They're pretty. Do you want to play as an ugly character? Do you want to play as a pretty character? Like, if you're given the choice, absolutely nothing has to do with like what type of playable character. What'd you just do?
Oh, hold on.
Are we
there we
still
go.
on the street? Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
Like, did you just kick us in the middle?
No, I did something bad. No, you're good. You're good. You're still here.
Oh my gosh, Princess Sparkle Gorgon made a really cool meme. I'll see if I can pull it up, but it's like the way that like women, like what women are attracted to as far as like visually, not like sexually attracted to, but like the kind of things we like to look at versus
Right.
what men like to look at versus what SJWs like to look at. And it's like, you know, Princess Zelda in her beautiful dress with all this detail. Men, it's like the Mortal Kombat girls, like Princess Katana and like the sexy fighting outfit. And then the SJWs want you to what that weird Cal Art style with the big eyes and everyone's fat and looks androgynous. It's like that was so spot on. When
Let me pull this up real quick because this is what I'm talking about here. They think that all women want to look like this.
Yeah, no.
right? They
Is
think
that a
this,
girl?
they think this is
So
the
that's a
average
guy.
woman.
That is actually a male character.
Oh, are you kidding? I thought that was.
I
Wait.
was just as shocked too because
There's the woman, right? There's the
there
actual
you go.
woman.
That's the larger female.
Yeah, the other bulky person in the game.
Yep.
And then this is from the game Concord, everybody. No,
Here,
but they
Sherman.
think that women want to look like that, or that the average woman looks like that, and by making women or female characters look like that they're relating, right? They're making it relatable to everybody, but they're really
It's so
not.
insulting.
Here, share my screen real fast. I found the meme.
Yeah.
So I was like, I think this is pretty accurate. Female audience, male audience, SJW.
That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Except their jaw needs to be bigger.
I know, right?
They need arm hair too, and like the armpit hair.
Oh God, and
gotta
like
have
those
that.
shitty tattoos all over.
Ugh.
But this I think is more geared towards animation, but I think it goes along with video games. So when I was in college, I went first for animation and then concept art, and best place to get a job is in video game design because there's such a high demand for it, and that's where you're going to get the most work and make the most money. And I remember I was doing a character design for like an armor class, and my character was like a femme fatale villain, and I wanted her to have like like a bodysuit with like moving lava because I was thinking about how cool the effects would be. And so I did it like a skin tight bodysuit to give her sex appeal. And I remember getting a lecture from my professor about how it's like when you sacrifice functionability for sex appeal. And I'm like, this is like the whole thing about the character is that she's got magic and she's supposed to be sexy and like the suit is supposed to like hypnotize you, even though lava is dangerous, but it has like that glowing effect. Because I was thinking about how cool this would look to render. And yeah, I got the whole lecture about sex appeal and how it's like, oh, well, that's not accurate. And I'm like, this is a video game design that's like in a fantasy world where there's fucking dragons in it. I don't think we're going for real life accuracy here, man.
But you know what bugs me about that whole thing, about the whole, we're objectifying women. Mm-hmm. The men in those games are super ripped, right? Mm-hmm. Like 6'5" at least. Like, do you think the average guy playing video games looks like the man he's playing in the games?
Henry Cavill.
Right. They are okay. But that's what I'm saying. They look like Henry Cavill, those characters. Right? Mm-hmm. Like we don't, right? But it's always sexist when a woman has this sort of fantasized ideal look. Right? How come it's not the other way around?
Which is bullshit. But the other people that they did dirty, which they didn't realize, and this is my favorite short-sighted argument with them, is so they talk about the male gaze. Well, there is one type of person who is included in the male gaze. Lesbians. So they said, fuck you, lesbians. You're evil because you like the same thing men do. Even though they'll try to champion and be like, oh, lesbians are still protected or whatever, so long as you're still willing to have sex with a dick. It's a chick dick.
Well, I've talked to some people who, within the gaming industry, and obviously they can't speak out because they don't want to lose their jobs or their careers, but they've pretty much solidified that this whole thing is because they are trying to appeal to the queer community, like people who are trans, people who they don't want to make the women too sexy because they don't want to make trans women feel so bad about themselves.
The and that's the big distinction, calling it the queer community, not the LGB side.
Right, not the LGB.
They don't give a shit about lesbians or bisexuals or actually gay men.
Exactly.
Well, they do realize that gay men still like to look at pretty things and like look at RuPaul's Drag Race. Are they trying to make themselves look like basic bitches, or are they trying to slay queen?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, they don't like those.
But it's only acceptable if a man is trying to look pretty, right? Like if it's a woman trying to look sexy, then she's problematic. And if you speak out, you're problematic.
I love being a problem on purpose.
I mean, honestly, I think Eastern gaming is just going to take over. It already kind of has, but I think Eastern gaming is going to take over because they're not playing by these stupid rules. They are making their women sexy. They're making
careful with that. So Eastern gaming was so successful that Americans got involved in it. So the reason why we have Sony Entertainment, the primary studio, is now in California instead of Japan is because of the American influence and investors getting involved. So the top rated companies, unfortunately, like with all entertainment, it's just a cycle. The top rated companies, Sony, Nintendo might, and some of the other ones, they'll fall to it. They will absolutely fall because the people who invest in them, like Blackstone and BlackRock, they're moving ESG to Japan because they have ties to the people who are currently in power. So they're prematurely investing in the hopes that they'll get the same tax breaks eventually.
Right.
So all these changes are premature, so that way they can get the benefits right away. So the big titles still be concerned. We still have pipeline things that have been being made for the past anywhere between like 2 and 4 years. So for the next 2 years, the releases will still be influenced by all that.
Well,
But indie is good.
at least for now, I think the East is killing it, right? I mean, sure. I mean, they'll probably in the future get bought out and all that is going to happen. But I think right now they are just destroying Western gaming.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the thing that, and it's funny because I was trying to pinpoint when I first noticed, like when all this was happening, because it's in a way it kind of feels like it snuck up on us. Right, out of nowhere, it just seemed like all of a sudden this has become the standard. But I'm trying to pinpoint when that happened, and
it started actually. The downfall started way back in 2007. You can get a little history lesson.
Yeah, let's do it.
So Fox News ran a segment on the internet hacker known as 4chan. And this also ties into when iPhones became more accessible, bringing normies online. That was the last days of freedom upon the internet. Companies then got involved, saw how many people were moving online, and naturally, they wanted to advertise to hit the younger crowds, to be able to sell their products. They had a great deal of success. And then they noticed there's a lot of control that you can have online. And then with the first Gamergate back in 2016, that's when we saw this language starting to be used about, you're objectifying women and Metroid's a problem and Bayonetta's a problem, even though now that they champion them sort of,
Right.
calling them like queer icons or whatever, which is not true. So 2016 started to ramp up the rhetoric. The entertainment industry started to change. They used fear tactics against them. But in truth, those people were just the useful idiots. At the same time, you have to look at the legislative changes. And the Obama era brought in a lot of the ESG stuff that we see today. So if you follow the money, around his presidency and then 2016 is when things really started to change. And then when you watch the investors start to pick into the successful Japanese companies, then you can line everything up that way too. So we can blame Obama.
Oh, well, look, yeah, for sure. And my thing is, for me, I was trying to remember what game it was that, kind of sparked this for me. And looking back, I think it was Mortal Kombat 11. I think that's when I kind of really got a glimpse of what was happening, because I remember up until then, like, Anna said, the Mortal Kombat girls were dressed in, sexy outfits, and all the cosplayers at Comic-Con love dressing up as Melina, Katana, Jade, all of them. Oh, yeah. And when Mortal Kombat 11 came out, I just remember all the cosplayers being so pissed because all of a sudden, all the women are covered up. All of a sudden, the characters are not as attractive as they were. And I was like, yeah, why is this? Like, why is this happening? And then that's when I started to notice the domino effect with other games where all of a sudden, the women weren't looking as attractive as they did previously. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's sad that this is where it's at, because I don't really look, even with low sales, even with games failing, I think ESG is so strong that it's not going to be a change, really. You know what I mean?
It's got to get out of government. Once it stops being a financial benefit and incentive, then we'll see real change. But until then, it'll just be rebranded. Even a company who says, oh, we're going to hire based off of merit. So we saw those posts go wild, actually, a little bit ago. I think it was a month or two. It can still be a useful and high merit hire to hire somebody who gives tax breaks. They may not be productive, But if they provide a large enough statistical change in the employment structure of the company for the demographics, then if they get a nice tax break from a government, then they can justify spending, $42,000 and pay somebody minimum wage to have a BS position. So we have to, it's not enough to just vote with your wallets. You have to vote for proper politicians as well and just do the best that you can. Otherwise, again, nothing will truly change.
Well, speaking of which, look at that. We were just talking about Concord, and sure enough, literally 14 days after release.
10.
Oh my God. 10 days. 10 days in, and Sony has already canceled this game. Already canceled. Already done. They have removed it from the network, and they are refunding people.
That I think was
officially gets taken down tomorrow, the 6th.
Yes. Yeah, the servers will shut down tomorrow.
So right now, you guys can still go play it while you got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's your last chance. Here was another article where it says Concord is estimated to have sold only 25,000 units. 25,000.
Is that the guy who went a little bit viral the other day? Who's the writer?
The writer is it's Rebecca Valentine.
Oh, never mind. Oof, Rebecca wants to weigh in with her words of wisdom.
Yeah, I know. When I caught the name, I was like, oh, her. But 25,000 copies, man. And this game took 8 years in development, right?
Yeah, so I did the bare minimum of research. So Firewalk Studio was actually owned by another group who partnered with Sony. And originally, they were not going to sell Firewalk, but because they were having their own problems, they sold Firewalk off in 2021 or 2023 is when the sale was finalized. They didn't do it because it was successful. They did it because they needed the freaking money. They shut down their Cauldron, which is like their actual development department, and they had an undisclosed number of layoffs. So Sony was just stupid enough to buy them. I don't know what higher-ups told them that this was going to be successful. I don't know how they got baited into this, but the individuals who agreed to that purchase were clearly only following ESG money.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Sony doesn't make a lot of good decisions. I mean, look what they did with Helldivers, right? I mean, they make really stupid decisions, and I don't know, maybe because they feel like they're a big enough company that they can afford to make those decisions. But it didn't surprise me about Concord at all.
Their entertainment branch is absolutely dysfunctional. So obviously all of their products over the years have kind of declined as they adopt more Western practices, but Sony's obviously massive. I think one of the most interesting things though that they did was they allowed the sale to Blackstone. So Blackstone's been a big part of Sony for a long time, but they are now the majority shareholder at 51% in Sony Payment Processor, which is Japan's largest payment processor. So Sony is not doing as good as one would think, given that they're willing to give up the majority hold on a payment processor.
Well, also I read that because of how bad Concord did, that they're raising the prices of the PS5s now.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, they're raising the prices. From $499, I think it's going to be like $699 or something crazy like that.
Really? I saw that there was price discussion for Japan, but that was due to the price of their currency.
No, it's because Concord costed them so much money. They blew so much money on it that they had to make it up somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess like by raising the price of the system, that that's how they'll try to make it up.
Good luck. No one's going to buy it then.
Right.
So all this is done, and like I know that I'm in a position of just being in a basement, being just a loser on the internet, whatever. Like, why would anybody listen to me? The best thing any small group can do is resist being bought out. Sony has shown how much they disrespect who they acquire. They don't care. They didn't buy you because they like you. They bought you because they thought they could make money off of you.
Yeah.
They messed up Stellar Blade. They messed up with Helldivers. They've messed up with this. They have brilliant IPs from way back in the day that people have been screaming about them bringing back, like Jack and Daxter. Why that hasn't been continued, we'll never know. But all this does is send a message to people that Sony does not have your best interest in mind, do not go work with them. Do not sign that the exclusivity deal, no matter how much that upfront money might look so pretty to you. Hold on to your IP, hold on to your story, do what you want to do. The free market is so easy to advertise on nowadays. You don't need them. They need you.
No, I totally agree. In fact, I read today somewhere that they're hurting for new IPs.
Yeah, that's their bullshit. That's the bullshit line. So that's a board being too stupid to understand anything about the entertainment industry. Again, there's Jack and Daxter, and there's a bunch of other ones, but it's the one that I personally would really like to see. But
there's a ton of Sony exclusives that they could bring back that people would love and buy, you know?
They could just resell the original Jack and Daxter as it is with zero remastering, zero graphical updates. They could resell that tomorrow and people will buy it and it will sell out way more than Concord ever did. It would beat it at minimum 10 to 100-fold.
You know, I feel like Sony is kind of ran like Lucasfilm. You know what I mean?
These boards are stupid.
Which we're going to get into in a minute, but yeah, they're not a good company. Look, I have a PS5. I haven't graduated up to a PC yet. I'm working on it. Eventually, I will have a gaming PC. But for right now, I'm still on console. I'm a console troll. The games I play, I'm very committed to, so I don't really venture out too much. On any given day, I'm either playing Overwatch or I'm playing Warframe. So, I mean, outside of those, that's all I have time for. But I just feel like Sony, they need to kind of figure some things out, man, because at some point, and I'm not saying Xbox is doing any better, but they got to remember they are in a competition here. And at any point, Xbox can get their stuff together. And then what? Because here's the thing, Sony's movies aren't doing great either. So it's not like they have a lot to lean on.
I think
I don't know,
if
I'm just
they shut
saying.
down the American entertainment branch and just went back to the basics and went back to being a Japanese company, they would be so much happier.
I agree. You know what? I'm gonna read some comments and then we're gonna talk about Dustborn because that's the other trash heap that we need to get into. All right. Sean Z, let's go. What's up, Sean, man? Thanks for tuning in. You are a regular to the show, and I really appreciate you. Sergeant, Garantina, evening verbal riot, evening to yourself, sir. I think you were there Saturday night, so you heard the drunken stream.
Oh, dear.
Let's see. We have Holocron, Library Fox. Well, cut it out. I mean, proverbially, can't change, so you might as well start liking seeing yourself. Look, man, this is just a thing that I've been dealing with my whole life. I don't like seeing myself on camera, which is weird considering what I'm doing. But yeah, I've always been that way. Even with the film stuff, I hit in the background. All right, box office brawler. Hey, Verbal, if you were a Concord character, which one would you be? I'd be the straight one.
So none of them.
Right. Let's see. Holocron Library let's see. You can either be fat or an alien. Yes, those are your choices. Well, a gay alien, right? Like you can't really be a straight alien in the game.
Yeah, I tried to be nice too. So I tried the Concord beta. Somebody was nice enough to give me a key because individuals who pre-ordered it got four keys to give to their friends to try to get more people to play the beta.
Wow, they were giving it away, huh?
Yeah,
Already,
and so
yeah.
only 2,000 people showed up for that.
Wow.
So that was funny. But they've got the one stupid furry alien chick thing. And I kept saying, out of all the designs, this is the most creative, and it just looks like you clicked randomize on the Sims 4 character creator. But I tried to give them points for that, and I said, if only her shirt was a little tighter. If only.
If only.
Show me something. Show me some curves.
I agree. Cosmin Cristani. They keep making special excuses for trans. It's crazy. You know what? Here's the thing, man. If they were just to be honest and say, hey, we're making a video game, with a lot of trans characters, and this is just what it is, fine. Look, there's room in gaming for everybody, man. Like, no one's trying to be, bigoted and say that, hey, trans people can't play video games or there's no room for trans characters. No one's saying that. but be honest about the game you're making, right? Like quit the BS and calling people bigots for not relating to a character or not wanting to play a specific character, right? That's not what gaming's about. I mean, going back to like really quick about just the pretty thing, right? The pretty bigotry. The weird thing for me is we have plenty of games now where you can create your own character. You can create your own character of how you want to look, what you want to be. Hell, Hogwarts Legacy, even though I know J.K. Rowling's a big turf and all, you could even be a trans character in Harry Potter's world. Imagine that. You could be a trans character in Hogwarts.
Unless you have to pick if you're going to be a boy or a girl to go in the dormitory. But now they did change the bartender to be a trans person, which it was obviously just an ugly woman that was supposed to be a lesbian, and then they just got a man to voice it. But I don't know, the whole Harry Potter thing, even in there, like everyone was ugly. I don't know what that is as video games. Like I honestly think like you should just have your NPCs, whatever you want to design them, let them be designed, and then go the Sims route, so where you can adjust them however the hell you want. But even Elden Ring, I had a problem. It took me 3 hours to create a character, and I was playing as a female just to make her look somewhat feminine and pretty. And then I ended up just putting a mask on her because she was so fucking ugly.
Wow.
And what I got it because I play it on PC, and then I got it on my PS5 so my stepdaughter could play it. Made a guy character, 10 minutes. To make him a sexy dude. 10 fucking minutes. Like just the regular defaults, change his hair, his eye color, get his costume. Done. 3 hours to make a girl look slightly feminine in Elden Ring.
That's crazy, man. I
remember
games where, you know, when you create your character, you could adjust the boobs, you could adjust adjust the ass. I mean, you could literally create any character you want. If you want the character to be a little fat, you can make them fat. Now all of a sudden it's like, no, you're very restricted in what you can create. Right. And I think, and they do that because they know if you stream that people are going to see this attractive character. Right. And that's what they don't want. They don't want to promote attractiveness.
And the people who let a trans person design it, they would make an attractive trans person because that's what they see themselves as. That's why they're getting all of the surgeries to make themselves appear more attractive. Like, look at Blair White. If you see pictures of her back before she
I have
got her surgeries, and then look at her now, and then look at there's the whole like the trans chick trap that's going on like Instagram and TikTok. And now I don't know if you guys saw that thing that was going viral of the like straight women that are pretending.
Oh, the OnlyFans. Yeah.
Yes. And then all the trans, you're like, stop stealing our identities. And it's like pot calling the kettle there black, dude.
Yeah. When I saw that, I had to really like think for a minute. I'm like, so it's like this retarded inception, right? like, and I hate to say it that way, but it kind of is. It's like, so if you're a trans person, you're upset that straight females are pretending to be trans, pretending to be
capitalize on the fetish on OnlyFans.
Right. But it's just a weird thing to me that you're judging them for pretending.
What you don't understand too, though, is that this is not a new trend. This has actually always gone on because trap content does incredibly freaking well. Like traps are like the guy's closet popular vanilla fetish.
Does it really? Like, see, I'm vanilla to this because I'm hearing this and I'm thinking, when has this been a thing?
Ladyboys. Yeah, the whole Thailand Ladyboys thing. Like, I feel like that's the most normalized and the one that everyone kind of knows. But there wouldn't be such like a popular thing about the ladyboys and going and picking up a ladyboy if there wasn't a market for it, right? And now it's just making its way over here.
Yep.
Okay, so this this is to show you how ignorant I am. Okay, the whole ladyboy thing, I thought that was out of necessity. Right, like kind of like you're in prison, and hey, this is all we got.
There's like a whole history to it. There really is actually. There's a rich, deep history there of the ladyboys in Thailand, but we're not going to get it. We're not going to get into.
We're not going to get into that here. I mean,
no. But
there will be no deep dive on that here. But
so traps are almost the equivalence of. So most women actually have the more rough fantasies. I won't use the actual words.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
some of the most common searched things are those types of videos. The trap is the equivalence of that. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is psychologically, but globally, traps are just a thing. And so after, I think it was in the 90s, actually, when women started capitalizing on that more. But now just as porn and everything like that and OnlyFans has made it so freaking easy, it's actually way more common than they think. It's just the first time that it's gone viral using their language on Twitter.
Okay.
That's why it's the first time they're seeing it, because they don't leave Twitter. Again, this is incredibly common, and I know this through the Japanese art rings that I hang out in. It's a big conversation.
Well, that's because you're also big into the whole like Tumblr thing, right? So you understand the Tumblr world, and I assume that's where a lot of them also kind of hang out.
Oh God, that hellhole.
Yeah, so I'm here to just expose the truths of that. I never really claimed to actually I liked Tumblr because it was a cool blog thing, and for a while, especially when they allowed the not safe for work stuff, it was actually really great for posting art. It was a really nice alternative to DeviantArt, because DeviantArt like screws over artists and stuff like that. And
I remember DeviantArt.
Yeah. So Tumblr was just a really fun way to curate that. And then also a lot of popular modders for The Sims and some other games also put all of their content on Tumblr, because you could also host files and things like that. So what it was really cool. And what it became, unfortunately, is just a cesspool of toxicity. The only reason why I even know about the toxic stuff was because of the Star Wars trilogy, the last three, the Reylos.
Oh.
So I deleted my entire account and everything that I'd ever posted there and on like Archive on Your Own, because all they did was go after artists for drawing the wrong shit. So if you drew Kylo with anybody except for Rey, they sent you death threats. They tried to dox you. They harassed you off the platform. They harassed you on the platform. They did whatever they could to try to ruin your day.
And this is after they got rid of porn, right?
Yeah. This is after, getting rid of porn made it really bad. Now it's just a bunch of unhinged losers. So there's that. And so fandom circles run over there, and it's really... like, if you haven't been on Tumblr in a while, just go look up your a TV series and go look at the disturbing things that people say. Like, you think
I haven't been on Tumblr since I can't even remember when. I don't see a reason to hop on it now, because there's nothing for me. There's nothing for me there. There is nothing for me.
Feel better about yourself, because holy, the literal ass crack of America is collected there.
Speaking of ass crack of America, we got to get into Dustborn, because oh my God. So guys, if you're watching this and you've never heard of this game, you're in for it, man. Like, you are in for it. Like, I can't believe this game was made. You know, you hear that term woke all the time, right? To the point where it's almost losing its power. It's like when you say racist, right? It's like it's losing its power because everyone says racist, and everybody's a racist, everybody's a bigot, whatever. Woke is having the same effect. But here's the thing. This is literally woke the video game. Like there's no way around it. Like this is... Savvy did a playthrough, and I'm gonna show some of her videos, okay? And when I watched this, I felt like I needed to drink, but I was also laughing and having the best time in the world watching her suffer, because she suffers, man. She suffers for our sins, boy, I tell you, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I would have shot myself in the head. I'm sorry, I couldn't do it. But she did it for us. And I got to show you guys these videos real quick. So Savvy, you know, lay it out to us. Like what made you decide to want to play this game?
So Lavender put out a little video of one of the scenes. And it was the one where they're in the diner saying, you know, oh, you want to do the trigger thing, and then calls the cops racist. And I said, there's no way that this is real. So I went.
Okay.
I because of that, I put out a poll and I said, would you rather me play a game I like or a failed game? And I guess because the post had been going viral, people kind of knew what I was already referencing. I didn't even name it. And then most people were voting for play the failed game. And I said, oh, shoot, it's $30. And so I sat there and I said, do I really want to give these people $30 frickin' just to try the game. I suppose I could always refund it.
So you actually paid for the game?
I did. I went through Steam. I paid for the game because if I'm going to do a review, if I'm going to dive into a product, I want to purchase it. I want to spend my money on it, and I want to research it for myself. That's just how I approach everything. I will seldom pirate, honestly, anything. Not because like I'm against easy access to anything. It's just my own personal feelings, and it's coming from a place of, well, if somebody would ever want to critique me, I would hope that they would give me the same courtesy. I know they won't, but it just comes from that treat others as you would want to be treated kind of perspective.
No, I get that. I respect it, and I respect it.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did get some shit from people who were like, "Oh, well, you supported them," and I'm like, "All right, I don't give a fuck what you think, but that's fine. If this is where you draw the line, not me posting about yaoi, not me talking about hentai, not me talking about all kinds of naughty things. This is where you draw the line. That's fine. I don't care."
But look, and I tell these people, look, I'm a film critic, and I hate calling myself that these days, but I am. I'm a film critic. I've been one for a very long time. And the thing is, I'm not going to talk about something unless I've seen it myself. Mm-hmm. And even though I get invited to a lot of free things, I still go and spend my money to watch movies. Yeah. I spent my money to watch The Crow. I spent my money to watch Borderlands.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
God.
That's why I was so angry about it, because I spent money on that. And no, you have to do that though. Like, you have to like invest. I mean, you gotta put your money where your mouth is.
Yep.
Right. And that's what, and I respect that. You got to do it. And so you did it. You dropped your $30.
I gave them $30, and the exact time of having the game open, according to Steam, was 15.2 hours.
Whoa.
Wow.
It's time you're never going to get back either.
Nope.
But I am the internet's leading expert on the game, and I know the game better than the developers because I got situations and panels that weren't even dev tested, I guess, because they had 0% gets.
So I'm about to actually play this clip, but before I do, I'm going to read this super chat real quick, and this is from Skizpevic for 20 Canadian dollars. Thank you very much, my friend. Hell, everybody unable to send memberships from Canadian YouTube today.
Oh.
Well, man, I don't know what's going on in Canada, but they need to fix that. But all right, let's get to your video, because I want you to explain what's happening here.
I don't know if I can. It's making me do this, by the way.
Oh, wait. We got to go back to that real quick. Look at this wheel. So these are your options, right?
These are my powers, yeah.
These are your powers to cancel somebody, right? You have trigger. So trigger is part of your options to trigger people.
Yeah, that's one of our first powers given to us, actually. The game forces you to use it very early on in the game as an introduction to the powers.
Oh, my God.
Okay. You also have bully. So you're there to bully people. Is that correct?
Which is also used on your friend when you get it.
So you're using these on your friends, not your enemies.
Correct.
Oh, my God. Okay, let's keep it going.
By the way, it's making me...
Your own.
They're T-posing and committing suicide.
Driven mad by disinformation.
So this is my favorite clip, actually. That this is my favorite thing that happened in the entire game. This is what I imagine they think happens when they tell people off online. When certain people are like trying to insult others and saying like, "Oh, you're ugly. Oh, you're gonna die alone because you're a bigot." This is what they're picturing in their head. They're picturing you running off of a rooftop to kill yourself.
Wow. So, okay, how far into the game is this, by the way?
This is towards the end. I think this was in the final 4 hours. So you're breaking into a government facility in the middle of Nebraska. That's all cops that are here. And for some reason, some robots, and the hentai jelly monsters have been slowly guiding you here, sort of.
Hentai jelly monsters.
I'm not exaggerating. They have little hentai jelly monsters that wrap their tentacles around you, but you can't see them.
Oh.
And they molest you and try to assault you with disinformation, but the disinformation is actually true. But you collect the disinformation, which is how you gain your powers. So I don't know. Like I said, explaining this game is very hard. So we're on a rooftop and we've just killed a cop who didn't do anything wrong by canceling him actually while on the ground floor. And then this is when all the cops are coming to try to stop you from getting to a tree.
Oh, so those are cops.
Yeah, those are cops.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, those are cops, and we're telling the cops to essentially kill themselves.
Oh.
So it makes you use the power several times because it tries to force a horde thing on you. You could actually just beat them down really easily. You don't have to do it, but the game forces you to use the powers as if it's too overwhelming. So you basically just keep having the cops kill themselves.
That's insane.
Yeah. And there's really no reason for it, actually, because we're trespassing in a government facility where we shouldn't be. That this part of the story, it genuinely could be removed from the game and you would not notice a difference.
Wow. Okay, here's another one. This one's probably one of my favorites. Is the sound on? Oh, wait, you know what?
No, it's not.
Let me rewind that. Okay, here we go.
I'm sorry. Was that an inappropriate response?
Not at all. What he said. She said. It. What are you, robot?
I'm a robot. I don't have an assigned gender.
Good for you. Wait, so how do we make...
I love that you have to walk off screen for this.
You put a marshmallow on a stick.
Yeah.
Mush it between two
So
cracks.
I did a good job keeping it together, but that robot character is actually the trans representation in the game. You would think that it was actually the Rufus Shinra, they, them, but it's not. So the robot is an allegory for the trans people because it starts off as a male, and then for some reason it gets reprogrammed or its programming is reset, and then it becomes a British woman. And so you start off by calling it CT, and then it says, well, I think I'd like my name to be Viola. And then you're like, okay, I guess we'll call you Viola now. And then she's like, but I don't know, maybe I'll get a nice feminine hat for the feminine name because I feel like a girl. And then after a little while, she says, oh, I don't actually feel like a Viola, so I guess I'll just go back to CT now. And it's like, I hate you. And spoiler alert, don't care. Robot dies. So glad for that. Went from being the most likable character to one of the worst.
So when I read about this game, I read something ridiculous like this game was funded by 3 governments.
Yes.
3 governments funded this game. The Norwegian government gave it $1 million. The US gave it, was it $250K?
Something like that, or 175. I don't remember. But both that one and Cat Park were funded. People keep getting them confused, and some of the articles that are written are a little bit confused, but I saw 2 different things, so it definitely did get some sort of US funding. And then the EU also funded it for 250.
Got it. So
Yeah.
3 governments funded this game. My question is why? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
they always try to say, oh, there is no agenda, but 3 governments? Like, how often does that happen in gaming? I mean,
So government funding is surprisingly sort of not really common. I was told that actually the Polish government did end up funding a little bit of The Witcher 3, but I think that is so fundamentally different from why Dustborn was funded. It's one thing to have like an entertainment initiative. It's another to have a propaganda initiative. If you look at the so for Cat Park, this was just the language that I remembered from that document. It stated that it was a competition grant or whatever that would be awarded to an individual who could pitch something that was a game that could go to scale, that could be used to fight disinformation or fight misinformation or whatever. That is their specific language. So they funded games, or this grant tried to fund games with that intent. So it was a form of propaganda.
wow.
So yeah, it stops being art the moment the government dictates what you have to create.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what this is. It's propaganda.
Yeah.
And it failed. because I showed a video last week where I looked at the Steam numbers, and I think it was like 34 people playing the game, and this was like on a Saturday night.
Yeah. No,
34 people playing the game.
It peaked at 86. Right now,
my
there's
God.
only 7. Oh, I'm sorry. 83 was its peak. Its 24-hour peak was 29, and right now there's 7 people.
Oh, yeah, no.
Wow. So
Top seller.
yeah, I'm trying to think. So what happens now then? I mean, are they going to cancel this game like they did Concord? Are they going to just remove it, or?
So somebody sent me some information that I still have to go through, but supposedly part of the agreement was actually that the game had to be hosted on local servers owned by the people who actually made Dustborn. It couldn't be hosted by someone else. And I'm not sure why that was specified. But if that's the case, then I'm going to do some digging and see how much the average server cost is, and then try to figure out how much they made to see realistically how long they could actually keep the game up.
Yeah, you know what? I'd be really curious about that myself, because
Yeah.
that's, I mean, look, Concord, believe it or not, did better than Dustborn. So
Well, so if you actually compare it, if you were to pull a if you were to actually like look at it, I would actually say Dustborn was a slightly bigger success than Concord, because you're comparing apples to oranges. Concord had every single privilege that could be awarded to a game company.
that's
They
fair.
were bought by their publisher.
Yeah.
They had Sony promote for them. Sony bullied their other studios to show support for them, because there were games saying, "Oh, go check out Concord, guys. We're so happy for their release." That's never happened before. Whatever there was the samurai game. They put out a thing for it, and they were like, "Go check out Concord, guys." Why would they do that? It's completely different genres.
Right.
On top of that, they had access, supposedly, to some of the top people in the industry who clearly had no idea what the fuck they were doing.
No, and that's fair, because that's like comparing like Disney to like an indie studio, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Disney has no excuse to fail. None.
Yeah.
Yet they do
Exactly.
it all the time.
Yeah. So Dustborn does have previous successes. People really liked Ragnar something. I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm really dumb with names. I don't ever mean to insult people's names. So people know who Ragnar is. People liked his previous games, and they're shocked that he was the writer for this and that it turned into what it did, because I guess his other games, that while they could have political messages, they were not like this at all. So they did have like some former success to kind of help bolster it. But again, the sales were still really bad, but I still think they actually still did better than Concord. But
And
we'd have
you know
to
what?
look at
It's
the-
kind of like
at the
it's like
achievements.
what I said though. Like there is room for games like this, you know, for people who want to play it. I'm. It's not the game itself. It's the push behind it. It's the fact that 3 governments decided to use this as a propaganda piece, right?
That's the biggest thing for me. That right there. If this was not tax funded, I would not care.
Right, because that means
I agree with you.
yeah,
that
because
games
everyone
deserve to exist.
has a right to play a game that they want to play, and if there's a market for it, let the market decide, right?
Yep.
And I'm okay with that. But the fact that governments put money behind this, that rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, you know what? Absolutely not. It deserves to fail on every level.
Yep. Yeah. And that was, again, the only reason why I went as hard as I did with it. And there is still things like I wish that I could have. I don't want to make a video on it, but there are things that I wish I had said when I first put out the threads or while I was streaming that I wish I had said. But I don't want to give it any more breath. Like I'm already, over it. Like I don't want to make more
You
content
suffered
out of it.
enough, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
exactly. but yeah, had there been no tax dollars put to this, like absolutely, this game deserves to exist. It was an original story for as much as was just stolen from other stuff.
Yeah, we didn't even get into that yet. The whole GTA thing and how they stole like assets from that. So I mean,
yeah, it's a silly mess. Glad they made their own IP and didn't try to destroy something else. hope that they keep making games that they want to make, whether they make money or not. That's for the free market to decide. But it is what it is.
And funny enough, that actually really ties into what we're going to talk about next. Because before I do that, let me read a few more chats, and then we'll get into what happened this week. Vernon Hampton, anyone over 5'9" is a freak.
Oh
I agree. They're giants.
Hey, you know what? I'm all for midgets. I mean, little people. Little people, damn it. Little people. God, I gotta quit calling them that.
Wait, are we not allowed to?
I guess we're not allowed to say the word midget anymore. I don't know why. To me, that sounds better than little people. But hey, you know what? I'm not one, so I can't.
There's a midget character in Dustborn.
Oh,
really?
He's also an ex-demolition expert from the military, which would have never happened because they have.
Of course he is. Of course he is, because those are tough little bastards, man. Namashi. But does it apply to only America? Would a 5'4" guy be average elsewhere? Yes, in China maybe. But
my husband's 6'9".
Oh God!
Wow.
Oh
my God! Do you guys have kids? Like, were your babies ginormous?
Oh, we will. We'll be having kids, and so he's got his mother's very tall. Even his dad's tall. I haven't met him. He's back in Germany, but his mother lives here.
Yeah, you're gonna have giants.
Since I got pregnant, my whole timeline is just like girls, like, with their pregnancies. And one girl's like, "Oh, it's cool having a tall husband until you have to have his giant baby."
I'm a little scared for that because I was also a big baby. Even though I'm a small person, I was a big, fat, heavy baby because I didn't want to come out of my mother. I was actually a few weeks late. They had to cut me out, but.
So I was one of those people whose dad would, back in the 70s, would take him to the worst films ever. Like, he'd take us to all the worst horror films, in the theater, and he would give no fucks. I mean, he would just have me and my little brother there watching Friday the 13th and people getting, cut up and everything. And so I was one of those people who saw Alien way too early. So pregnancy has always freaked me out because of that movie Alien. Like the idea of something growing inside, like it's always freaked me out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's me right now, man.
But congratulations, Anna.
Oh yeah.
I was born a month late, and I was my mom's smallest baby, and then my husband is the small twin, so he was his mom's smallest baby. But I'm like, you got a big ass head. This is gonna be a big.
Oh, you're in trouble. Oh, you're in trouble, man.
Oh man.
I know. So I'm not looking forward to that aspect of this. But right now, I'm just like, I think about that now. I'm like, I'm so glad he's not a giant, because I could not deal with having a giant baby.
Oh, yeah. You're because I mean, Peaches is like what, 5'9"?
No, he's 5'7".
Oh wow, okay. So he's Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise's height.
He's tall to me. I'm little.
Wait, what are you then?
I'm super short.
Are you?
But you know what though? As long as he's taller, that's all that matters. He doesn't have to be a giant. As long as he's taller than you, then there you go.
I always said I won't. Like, I dated a guy that was 6'5" in college. I was like, never again. This is so inconvenient.
Oh, I bet.
But the highest I'll date is like 5'9". Like that's my cutoff. Peaches is 5'7", which is perfect.
So he made the cut.
He did, yeah.
That's the opposite of me, dude. Like, I always wanted a tall guy, and then I dated some short ones, and I'm like, fucking never again.
Wow.
See, I like truly like comic book accurate Wolverine. I'm like short and hairy with like,
Well, you know what's funny is I'm actually the shortest male in my family, and I'm 6 foot, and I'm the shortest male in my family. So I come from a family of giants.
That's awesome.
I'm the runt of my family. All right. Name or Nami says, looks like Dante's new thirst trap. PFP did his job. It's not a thirst trap, man. Look, I've been working out lately. I've been trying to get back into shape. And it's been very hot here lately.
Dude, is it like over 100 where you are right now?
Yeah, it's insane.
I'm melting, man.
I took a walk to local market today, and I regret it every step. That should not have happened. All right, just a few more. Holy Crown Library Fox, just add in and you to the CT.
Nice one.
Dude, the character was so dumb. Like, how do you gaslight a robot?
Yeah, that's God, a transgender robot. That's wild to me.
Like, she wasn't bad because she was trans. It was just bad that she was the allegory for it, and then she was so flip-floppy, which doesn't make sense. And if they were trying to have something that was breaking its programming, they did it in the most unintelligent way possible. So sad.
All right, we're gonna read one more, then we're gonna hop to our last topic. Oliver Laveri Farag for 10 euros. Savvy may just be a gamer in the basement, but the reason we listen to her is not because she actually plays the games she reviews. It's because her website, Savvy Feet.
Don't
You
look
know
it
what?
up.
I'm going to
Don't
leave
do
that
it.
one alone because I don't understand you foot guys. I got to be honest, man. I'm not a foot man myself. I don't understand the obsession with feet, but you know what? I don't kink shame, so it is what it is.
It's a terrible meme that I brought this upon myself by talking about genealogy and the origins of people's toe shapes.
Oh my God. Are you into that too?
Oh, it was just like a funny little offhanded post that I made on Twitter. And so I have Egyptian feet, and I claim that this is, foot supremacy in terms of a foot shape because it's got a nice slope of the toes. Well, people took that and ran with it, of course. So now it's just become a big running gag on Geeks and Gamers. And then Dan Vask is a little bit too curious about my feet.
Oh,
He
I'm
doesn't
sure
wanna
he
pay
is.
for them, and it's just funny.
By the way, just by you saying that, you're probably doing it for somebody right now.
I saw that like with the 1 foot like meme, like, oh, this shows your heritage. I have Aborigine toes, and I'm just like, that's the most random one to have.
Hell yeah. No, I think that kind of stuff is interesting.
I have caveman feet, so I can't relate to any of this. I have the feet of a hobbit, okay?
Oh man.
I have hairy feet too, but no, my like toes were webbed when I was born, so they had to like slice them apart. And so I still have the scar. I showed it one time on stream, and of course that got added to like the wiki feed, and I'm just like, I didn't know the section of the
kinda
internet
cool.
existed.
That's really cool though. I mean, it sucks, but like mutations like that are so fascinating. Like I love all that shit.
What was funny is like, I'll watch Simcast, and every now and then somebody might accidentally shows their feet, and it's like, and I love when they call that out because it's like, hey, you know what? You're doing it for somebody right now. Put those feet away. Again, I don't get it, but whoever does, I don't
like
kink shit.
clean feet. Like I love watching those videos, like the toe bro, where like people have disgusting toenails and like it's all callous and they're just like slicing it off with like butter knife.
Oh my God.
So
I love
that's what
watching
the
like
Savvy's feet thing redirects to, but it's like a really extreme version. Craig, fucking stuttering Craig, bought the domain and he redirected it to it. So it's just it's insane. But yeah,
that is wild stuff, man. Anyway, so this week was insane because here's the thing: I've been trying to leave the Acolyte behind for so long. I have I just want this to be gone. Like I'm tired of hearing about it. I just want it to leave and never come back. But people keep this; they're keeping it alive. And this week, we saw a lot of YouTubers that we know personally get attacked by these Shills because they're angry that for some reason they think that we were responsible for a major corporation canceling a $180 million production.
The power
we have that much power apparently.
That's wild,
isn't it? Like, and I don't really know these people that well. I'm going to show the like I know some of them, but I don't know this particular one. And
wait, you're not blocked by rewriting Ripley?
Surprisingly, I'm not blocked by him or the chick.
So, Rewriting Ripley is a website or blog that was created by employees of Lucasfilm to basically debunk critics of Disney Star Wars.
So Anna, you did a deep dive into this. What is your thoughts on this? Because I've seen some of your videos and you really got in there. So
on the Rewriting Ripley or this manifesto, like
this manifesto,
their struggle manifesto. Honestly, it just shows to me that, they're just trying to deflect. So, in my personal opinion, the Acolyte was only ever going to have one season from the beginning because it's just the $180 million did not go into the making of the show. It did not go to the cast. It went straight into Leslie Headland's pocket because it was a way to silence her for everything that she knows about Harvey Weinstein. And she knows all the skeletons and where they are for like Kathleen Kennedy, Bob Iger, other execs at Disney. So this show was literally just a tax write-off. So that way they could pay her for doing something and the IRS isn't going to look at it like, oh, this is hush money. So that's why none of the money went into the show. It was absolute shit. And I mean, you can look at it and just see that was not something that cost $180 million to make. And so because people are calling that out now, like I did a whole post on it, that post went viral and people are like, yeah, that kind of makes sense because obviously this does not cost $100 million to make when your main character is wearing a sweatshirt from Hot Topic. So with all of this, Dragon Con just happened. And I bet you all these people got together, like Molly, Kyle, Rewriting Ripley. They did this so that way they can blame the 3 straight white dudes that are all right-leaning politically and blame it on them. So this is distracting from people calling out that this was a whole money laundering scheme by Disney, to pay off Leslie Headland. So
this was like a coordinated attack. It was like all at once.
Mm-hmm. They all know. They're all in their little Discord servers. They're all in their little back rooms talking. It was 100% coordinated. They all worked on this together. And then the second part of this manifesto with like the references, I had to go through and look through all of those references. Nothing actually has to do with what they're saying because they accuse all of the guys of racism. There's nothing racist. It's just their opinions. Even their references don't include racism. The only time you use racism is from the articles that they link, like the one with Moses Ingram, and it's them being racist to white people and the fans of Star Wars. And they bring up the Milo guy, which I just learned who he was like today.
Yeah, that was random. To bring up Milo was weird.
Yeah, I was like, I'm a Star Wars fan. I've never heard of this person. How does this, like, I've never watched a video I've never watched a video about Ghostbusters, but they're saying he's the one that started Star Wars criticism. I'm like, didn't Red Letter Media get famous for taking down George Lucas for the prequels?
You know what? I'll go a step further. I don't remember Milo ever talking about Star Wars, if we're going to be honest, because I've seen a lot of his stuff back in the day.
They're trying to say by him criticizing Ghostbusters, the female Ghostbusters, that's what started the online criticism of Star Wars. And it's like, if you honestly believe that, you don't know anything about Star Wars. But these people, they don't actually do any research. They don't know anything about Star Wars. They don't even like Star Wars. They're just using this because Rewriting Ripley are employees of Lucasfilm, and they're just trying to distract from the actual problem by using the buzzwords, which is racism, bigotry, attacking women, especially women of color. And right. I mean, if you read everything, like Jeremy's already debunked this a bunch of times, like the first sentence they say about him is an absolute lie. Even in this manifesto, the stuff that they say about Ryan, they're like, he's racist because he said this person is narcissistic and vapid. And he's like, how is that racist? She is narcissistic and she is vapid. Anyone with eyes and ears can see and hear that. But this entire thing is just them doing a targeted harassment campaign against 3 white men that happen to be of a certain political leaning that is the opposite of them. So they ignore every woman or person of color and they highlight the 3 white dudes because they say that type of person as the embodiment of all evil. And it's blowing up in their face. I think it's funny that YouTube responded to them and was like, no, this doesn't break terms of service. And they're like, no, we want you to demonetize them. It's like, so you want to take away the livelihood of 3 men with families and children?
No, not just 3 men. 3 men who have employees.
Yeah. Well, right? I was thinking more of the fact that they have children that they have to feed. But I guess, yeah.
No, that too. But what I'm saying is this isn't just like Star Wars theory always says, it's not just him you're going after. You're going after the people who work for him, the people with families, the people, who is just there to do their job, right? And I know Molly Damon by reputation. I never really met the chick. Like, here's her profile. Surprisingly, she hasn't blocked me either. So Molly Damon is basically the beard to this guy. Star Wars Explained, and they've been, I guess they've been around for like a little while. They've kind of built a name for themselves in the Star Wars space, in the Disney Star Wars space. This is them, and look, at the end of the day, if they're really happy and this is, you know, what they're into, that's cool. You know, I guess these weirdos found love in a hopeless place, which was Disney Star Wars.
Well, click that, go down and click that picture where she's in the green dress.
This one?
Yeah, so they don't actually care about Star Wars. This is just a topic for them to cover to make money on. So that's them at the red carpet premiere of The Acolyte. So that's all the people that got on this whole cancel manifesto, all of them have received backstage and special access to people like Leslie Headland, Dave Filoni, the set of The Acolyte, or not even like the set, here's where we concept the special effects of The Acolyte, and they all got flown out there to go to the red carpet premiere. So they only are doing this for access. They don't actually care about these things. I make the comparison of somebody that's, you know, works for a news channel and is reporting the weather. Do they care that it's going to rain in Montana? No, they don't give a shit, but they're just telling you, hey, it's going to rain in Montana. So it's just their job. They don't care about any of this shit. They have a very basic knowledge of these things, and that's why all their videos are scripted and extremely edited, and they rarely do live streams because they can't talk off the cusp about this. This dude right here.
Yeah, he blocked me yesterday, actually. Kyle Katarn.
Yeah, he's a total shill. He doesn't even like the EU. I bet you he doesn't know anything about the character he's, you know, commandeering the name of. He has a selfie with Kathleen Kennedy. He was one of the ones that was invited.
I'm about to get into that. Yeah, this one right here. So this is
yeah, the Disney
this
show.
is where they all got flown out. They got flown out, put up in hotels, right? And they say that, oh, they're not getting paid. Guys, here's the thing. In this YouTube space, compensation comes in a lot of different ways. Okay. You don't have to just get a paycheck, right? It comes in access. It comes in, you know, nice little goodie bags,
Big
you know,
dinners and flights.
Yeah,
Yes.
dinners,
Paid all
flights,
the
and
time
then
in that.
the
red
first
carpet events.
the first access to watching the show before anyone else, so you can make the review and get all the views and make the money.
Yep.
Yeah. And look right there. Those are the three that started this whole thing, right next to Dave Filoni and Leslie Headland.
Yeah.
Right now, here's the funny thing: is I pulled up the video. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, there it is. Where this guy, I came across his site a couple of days ago. I think it's Mitch Grizzly.
And you know
or
what's
something like
funny, Dante? You and I, so Star Wars Explained. I doubt you remember, but one of the times we were at WonderCon, when we were at like the Hilton bar, they were right next to us waiting in line to get drinks. And I think I was laughing because they didn't recognize me, even though they've had me blocked for years.
Oh, that's hilarious. You know what?
I think like Chris recognized them, and I like was laughing to Chris about it, but I don't think you knew who they were. At the
I had
time.
no idea. Like they were so off my radar. And they were probably a lot smaller back then too.
No. They've always been like one of the biggest YouTube.
Oh, they have. Okay.
Ones. Yeah.
But
I was just laughing. So you have technically met them.
I had. Well, yeah, I meet a lot of people though, and it's like, yeah, I meet a lot of people. I just tend not to
remember
remember any of them. So here's a video where he's talking about what because Eric Voss, if you guys have seen the new rock stars, Eric Voss has made a name for himself in not just Star Wars, but the Disney space, whether it's the MCU. Actually, I think he blew up from the MCU stuff. He would do all these conspiracy things about the Disney Plus TV shows and that whole thing.
Well, so Eric Voss, so I used to watch New Rock Stars back when they were covering Game of Thrones, because they would do really good, like, in-depth analysis of Game of Thrones episodes. And it was a different guy. It was like he had like a black beard. So New Rock Stars, it's one of those channels where they have producers and writers, and then they just get somebody to be the face of it. So Eric Voss is one of those people. He's just the weather guy.
Okay,
So
got it. Got it.
of the channel. He doesn't own the channel. He doesn't run the channel. There's an entire team of people that do that.
He's a gun for hire.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But this guy exposes him, man, because Eric Voss went on this
Grizzy.
Huh?
Grizzy.
Yeah, Grizzy. Grizzy went on this tirade. I mean, not Grizzy, I'm sorry. Eric Voss went on this tirade about the fact that Disney Shills do not get compensation, right? He was very adamant about it. And it was funny, it's the first time I've ever seen him kind of angry. Like he's always kind of jovial, but in this one particular video, he was very adamant that, you know, they don't get any kind of compensation and blah, blah, blah. And so Grizzly basically made this video a couple of days ago that I watched, and it kind of blew me away.
To anyone celebrating the Acolyte getting canceled, seriously, off.
Whoa! Eric Voss of the New Rockstars is pissed.
Yeah, first time I've
Could
seen
it
him
be
like that.
because he has been successfully exposed as a paid Disney shill.
Just go to any Star Wars celebration or even Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland or Disney World, and you will know that Star Wars under Disney is as popular, if not more popular, than it ever was.
And he's now been
Lies.
exposed to the point that he feels the need to come out and defend himself.
Disney does not pay for reviews. That is a myth. But what they do is they give access to influencers and
Look at this.
journalists.
Which includes flying you out there, wining you and dining you, giving you very good lodging and early access to the press premiere of the show. Pretty much a free vacation. And throw in some free passes to Galaxy's Edge. Why not?
And people have accused that access of being a form of payment or influence.
'Cause it
When
is.
in reality, Disney has always made it clear, we don't really care if you give negative reviews of our stuff. We just don't want
Yes,
you
they
to engage
do.
in like toxic bullying. Now, I was fortunate to meet Leslie Headland at a
Look at
press
that.
event
They're
for
all
this
there.
film in May. The invite list included content makers that Headland had come across during her research and creators she felt were more fair in their Star Wars coverage.
So I'm not gonna play the whole
So the
video, but
Shills.
he gets into that, man. Like they are literally getting paid in one way or another to give good reviews of the show. Now, here's the thing: surprise, surprise, they all love the Acolyte. Every single one of them love the Acolyte. Not one bad review. It's wild, man.
Yeah, well, a lot of those content creators are there. I don't know all of them, but like I know a couple of them. Like Carly Keene is.
Yeah, I know
one of
Carly
them.
Keene. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, I've followed her for a while because she does cosplay, and so she's just like her dad works in special effects, and she lives in LA, and she's going to school to like be an actress. So like everything that she does, I wouldn't even say she really gives her opinions on things. She's just one of those teenagers that likes everything and just wants to work in Hollywood and just does lightsaber shows. So when I see like stuff like that from her, I'm just like, oh, she's just a kid just having fun. Like she doesn't really have a real horse in this game, I think. But then you see other guys like him who work for a company, and it's like your job is to give good reviews of every single show. I stopped watching their Game of Thrones content when they basically started like, because they used to like be like, oh, like this episode wasn't that great because they deviated from the books in this way, and like it kind of messes with something that's going to happen later on. And then season 8 of Game of Thrones came around, and they're like, well, they wanted to go this direction, so that's okay. And I'm like, well, funny, back when season 4 happened, you guys had something very different to say, but that was when they switched from the other guy to Eric. So I don't know what happened there. I stopped watching their channel because then they did the review for The Last Jedi. They're like, this is the greatest movie ever. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah.
No, it's wild to me that honestly, I'm really surprised YouTube did the right thing here, because I really thought YouTube was probably going to side with these people.
No, YouTube has gotten
considering
too much in the past. So honestly, if YouTube would have sided with them, it would have been a lawsuit. And I will give YouTube credit where it's due. And when it comes to that, like what they said in their videos, nothing they did violated terms of service. It's literally just an opinion. If they were sitting there dropping like the N-bomb talking about what's her face, that's a completely different story. But they're just saying from what I saw from the examples that they gave in their little reference, it's like, you just don't like that he like Ryan called her a bitch, and it's like he can call her a bitch. Well, YouTube is just going to put a limited ad revenue on his video. That's not harassment. He's not calling for people to get together to demonetize entire fucking channels like all of them are doing.
And look, let's be real. Let's be honest. I'm sure Amanda Stenberg and maybe some other people, maybe they did receive like, you know, some racist comments. Like I'm not even denying that happened, right? It's the internet. The internet is a cesspool. Of course, you know, they're going to receive some kind of negative thing, right? It's like whether they're a woman or a person of color, there's always going to be some idiot online who's going to say something stupid. But, you know, blame a content creator for that, for somebody else's actions, I don't agree with.
They don't
And I'm glad YouTube didn't agree with it.
Yeah. Well, they also knew, though, there wasn't a single thing that they said, though, that made any sense, because they knew if they demonetized Geeks and Gamers and anyone else, there's a lot more people they would have to demonetize as well, because there is objectively worse content. Not that they did anything wrong, but if we're going to call something bad by those people's standards, there is objectively worse from bigger creators.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
And if you are going to go after, like, Nerdrotic or Star Wars Theory or Geeks and Gamers or whoever, those channels are big enough that, they can bring a pretty hefty suit,
Yeah.
right? Like, they may get away with demonetizing small channels like mine, but a bigger channel, they might have a bigger problem with that.
Yeah.
I don't, the way I see it, man, I think if Disney did orchestrate this, because I'm hearing rumors that they did, that Disney, put this all together and they kind of prompted these people to do this. It could be wrong. I'm hearing different
low-level people at Disney, though, like from like a stupid marketing department or something, like all the DEI hires who get giddy and then try to give kickback to their friends. It's not
Right.
anybody important at Disney doing this. The important people at Disney who are actually making the big bucks and the decisions, they would never go to bat for these people. They're
No.
useful idiots.
That's a good
it.
point. No,
They're
they wouldn't.
pawns. They're pawns in a chess game.
Yeah, and the minute they stop being useful, like they are right now, they're going to drop them. They're not going to care. They're going to see this, and then they're going to say, ooh, why are we working with these people? Look at the noise they just tried to make. This is embarrassing.
No, they're saying they didn't want Gina. They canceled Gina. So this, I don't know if you know who Aiden Paladin is, but she did a really great breakdown of rewriting Ripley when this all happened 3 years ago. And she proves how they basically are just writers that work for Lucasfilm. So this is 2 minutes. Do you mind if I play it for you?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
When at least Katie previously collected thousands of tweets with the intent of punishing the posters, just as she intended to deplatform Ethan Van Sciver and likely intends to deplatform every single person mentioned in this hit piece that she has arbitrarily labeled as alt-right. I don't like cancel culture, but Katie seemingly does, and all I can say is that when you promote and engage in a certain behavior, how can you feign outrage when someone else does it to you? A possible collaborator of Katie's is Michelle, who publicly asked to help on the Rewriting Ripley project, and I feel I really need to introduce this player in the game by pointing out how she asked for academics to please respond to the proposed assessment of alt-right Star Wars fandom rabbit holes. Well, once again, I am responding. Now, why does this matter, and how does this all tie back to Disney? Well, because when Rewriting Ripley had less than 600 followers on Twitter, a number of those followers were Disney employees, namely Lucasfilm Star Wars creative executive Pablo Hidalgo. Hidalgo previously got into some hot water on Twitter after telling a fan who posted a tearful reaction to the appearance of Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian that, quote, emotions are not for sharing. But this alone was not enough, as he decided to make a screenshot of this tweet into his Twitter header and then lock his account when he received backlash. It does seem a bit odd that this creative executive would be following an account with less than 600 followers that just started, but hey, maybe it's completely organic and random. However, it's a bit harder to believe when you understand that Michelle, the woman who asked to help Katie with the Rewriting Ripley project, is a social media manager for Lucasfilm and also manages social media for Nerdist. Further, Rewriting Ripley notes on their website that one of their writers is a Webby Award winner, but neither Katie nor Lady V have won a Webby. Michelle has, indicating that Michelle is potentially working for the website in some capacity. So let's break down what that means. Michelle is, or at least was, a Lucasfilm employee, specifically a social media manager. She reached out publicly on social media to work with Katie and Lady V, both self-professed Raylos, on what would become the Rewriting Ripley site. And there seems to be some evidence that she is working on that website due to the mention of the Webby Award. Despite being a brand new podcast and project with about 600 followers on Twitter, within a few weeks of starting this up, major higher-ups at Lucasfilm began following Rewriting Ripley. What's the first big thing that Rewriting Ripley then does? Well, it's published what can only be described as a hit piece with a thin veneer of scientism aimed at people critical of the Star Wars sequels, written by Raylos, an almost undeniably toxic aspect of the fan base, if any fan base can be described as such, and with seemingly both direct and indirect ties to Lucasfilm from before the project even got really rolling. I must ask you, dear viewer, do you think the Rewriting Ripley post, the supposedly scientific analysis that we have just discussed, was made with malice, or was this just an organic response to an organic response, which they conveniently claim in their so-called analysis was also not an organic response?
Wow.
That's just a little snidbit of like an hour-and-a-half video where Aiden just uses all of the facts and evidence against them and completely destroys Rewriting Ripley. And they actually disappeared for years after that, once it got exposed, basically that they're just working for Lucasfilm and they're just like Lucasfilm pawn until now. Like I haven't seen them around in years.
Well, I find it a little convenient that all of this happens like right before the Skeleton Crew show premieres, right? Because I guess they want to kind of squash dissenting voices, like they don't want to have another Acolyte on their hands. So I think they did this right before, just so maybe discourage people from discussing it or giving negative reviews.
I haven't even really seen anyone like the most I've seen people critical of that show is how the everyday life looks so much like just a suburban life. That's all I've seen people be really critical of, that it's not out of this world Star Warsy. Like,
well, no, it hasn't premiered yet. But what I'm saying is, once
I
it
know
does,
from like the trailer,
right?
Like,
I think they're just trying to get ahead of it just in case.
Well, they're already starting the narrative that all of the evil critics, all the evil right misogynistic man babies are going to attack children. That's going to be their next thing, is that it's people attacking children. It's like, no, I think at this point nobody's going to watch it, because nobody watched that like cartoon show that's geared at children with like that little blue Ewok. Nobody watched that.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, I know nobody does, because nobody watched it. I think it was strategic getting Jude Law involved, because then they think, maybe some people are going to watch it,
or at least the women to watch it.
But even looking at that, it's like, it just looks like Goonies Star Wars, like, or wannabe Goonies Star Wars. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to watch it at this point. But
those same Shills made a video about that. Remember, like Kyle Katarn made that video about, remember what they did to Jake Lloyd and all these other people, and he was just a kid, and we can't let them do that to the kids of the Skeleton Crew. I'm like, give me a break.
I saw clips of that the other day, but like the Kyle guy, I didn't even know who he was until I saw Grizzy post like one of his shill videos, which are hilarious. You guys should go check that out if you haven't already. But
well apparently Kyle, they, from what I know of the guy, he started out doing I think with The Mandalorian. So he wasn't even doing Star Wars content until like I think the second season of The Mandalorian or something like that. Like he's kind of like new to this.
I don't know anything about him aside from he's a shill and a fake geek girl.
He really is. All right, I'm gonna hit on a few more comments, and then the last topic is going to be about Miss Jenna Ortega. Vernon Hampton, Star Wars Theory has been attacked, but he's not even a culture war guy. Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree with that. I think he has a lot of opinions about Star Wars, which he should, because he's the #1 Star Wars channel in the world. But for some reason, they love to go after him. And he doesn't say anything that controversial.
No, he's a really chill dude. He's so freaking nice.
He is. He's a really nice guy. He's not an asshole like us.
No, exactly. He conducts himself professionally and has such a nice manner of speaking. He's just really passionate about Star Wars. We're assholes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference here.
I watched this stream, like somebody tagged me in it when all of this started going down, and I think it was like not even a week ago, but it was a stream from 3 years ago where he was still doing the show with that one Josh guy, and he had smaller creators come on, and this one dumbass kid comes on and he's like, well, according to the American Constitution, there are laws in place from people that have too much power, and basically you're the biggest Star Wars YouTuber, and so you have a responsibility when you say things like, I don't like The Last Jedi, that's fine, but when you say The Last Jedi is trash, that's putting a label on it. And he was basically telling Star Wars Theory he's not allowed to say certain things because he has the biggest Star Wars channel, and Star Wars Theory is just sitting there and he's like, I'm Canadian, I don't know anything about your guys' political system. And he's like, so you're basically coming on here to tell me what I can and cannot say based on your country's checks and balances. And he's like, no, like, what the hell is your problem? This is my opinion and I'm allowed to talk however I want. And the kid was like, oh no, I wasn't trying to attack you. And he's like, no, yes, you were. Yes, you were. You came on here trying to attack. And I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this is so cringe.
Yeah, they're always surprised, like, when he defends himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's stuff that they would attack him for on Twitter, and I've seen that a couple of times where people are trying to give him shit like, you have the biggest Star Wars channel, you have a responsibility to not speak a certain way.
No,
and he's
doesn't.
like, it's like, no, it's like he can talk however he wants. He built his own channel. You could have done exactly what he did and put as much time, energy, and effort into building your channel just like he did, and you can go get, earn yourself 3 million subscribers and then do whatever the fuck you want with your own channel. But these people feel entitled, right?
Well, it's because they can't create, and the idea
Exactly.
of work gives them anxiety.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, he's not your father, he's not your mother, and he's not even probably your friend. Could you imagine the audacity to like go and just lecture someone else? Like, I always use the analogy, like, your channel is like your house.
Yeah.
Maybe my neighbor might have painted their house neon green. Like, all right, well, that's what I get for not living in an HOA. But it's like, I'm not going to paint my house neon green. Like, if they want to do that to their house, they can do that to their house. It's their house. But it's not my place to go and lecture them about it. That's how I personally see
it's
it.
like these people who are saying that, regardless of how miserable it did, Disney should still make a season 2 of The Acolyte. So you're expecting this corporation, right?
Well, so are you going to pay for it?
To gamble their money again on something that obviously didn't work the first time because you want it to happen. Make your own.
Yeah, why don't you all crowdfund it for Disney? Why don't you guys go and raise $180 million for season 2 to go pay for season 2? Like, they're all trying to get that petition signed. Have you guys seen that going around? Like,
What's
renew
it
the
at
Acolyte?
now?
I think
They're at like they're at like 60-something thousand, I think.
They're trying to get to 75. And then there's that other one that's like decanonized the Acolyte, and it got 25,000 in like a day.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like at this point it doesn't even matter. Like, even if they decanonize it, I feel like Star Wars is a lost cause. I don't think it'll ever come back.
Yeah.
It'll never be what it was, unfortunately. So
Died years ago when they first created Rey and their little tiny pea brains.
Yeah. Rey killed the franchise.
She did. She absolutely did. And it frustrates me so much because it would have been cool to have a chick who was, the antithesis of the bad guy, and then have the chick question her shit. And then maybe they switch. That would have been so badass.
Or I'll go one better. How about the fact that you have a black stormtrooper who is black?
Oh, cool.
Who beat the programming, and you make him the space janitor.
He literally escaped slavery, and like Finn was the best, like, thought out. I give that,
right.
I'm being generous with that term, but he was the most interesting, most compelling character, and they just threw that away.
I love him.
Can you imagine a story
they were
where
going to give him the Force?
I'm about to say, can you imagine a story where an ex-stormtrooper becomes a Jedi?
So cool.
You had your story right there. Rey didn't have to be the Jedi.
They were
racist. She could have been the pirate.
That's what happened. They were fucking racist against Finn. You know what? There's this great stupid fucking article. Somebody said it was about Doctor Who. They said it's diverse and a step in the right direction, but it's not diverse enough. Why couldn't it be a trans black queer doctor? Right?
Oh, it's never enough. It's never enough.
It'll never be enough. So just like with this, like, oh, you can have a woman lead now, but women are so oversaturated. Where's
that was the best thing about
Jedi?
Well, that was the best thing about Princess Leia. Like, I always thought it was quality versus quantity. It like there's all dudes, and then like Princess Leia and Mon Mothma. It's like, yeah, because it took one woman to do what no man could do. That's the empowering aspect of it. But they think, no, we have to just fill the screen with women and with people of color and people of the LGBTQ plus. It's like, no. Quality over quantity. These people are just too stupid to understand actual storytelling. If they would have made the entire like series revolve, and that would have been cool as far as the marketing, because like Finn obviously wasn't advertised as the main character. It was Rey, or kind of, sort of, like her action figure wasn't released until after, because they did that bait and switch where they came out with the action figure of her without the lightsaber. Then the day the movie came out, they released it with the lightsaber. So they didn't want you to know, but it's like, she's the main character on the poster. I think we kind of know. Yeah. But if they would have made it where it is about Finn and Rey wasn't the main character, maybe they tried to do the thing where it's, switching between points of views, and like, yeah, they could have done an interracial couple. Oh my gosh, how progressive! But no.
I mean, I'll go a step further. I mean, if we're going to talk about strong female Star Wars characters, Jen from Rogue One.
I hate that.
I thought she was a great female character. She died, sacrificing herself. I mean, she had flaws. You know, she needed the help of a man and wasn't afraid to like ask for it. Like I thought Jen was a good female character.
I disagree. I hate that movie with every fiber of my soul.
Really? You hate Rogue One, huh?
I don't remember
Yeah, I hate it.
You know what? You know what's funny? I think for me, it might be my third favorite Star Wars movie.
Oh my god.
I know the people who like it really like it. I do know that much.
Yeah, like for me, it's like the original Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and then Rogue One, because I think Jedi is still mid. Even though I love Jedi, looking back, it could have been so much better than it was. But I still love
I got
Jedi.
to see what Rogue One was before they Disneyfied it. I guess it was going to be like a more gritty kind of war movie. And honestly, I think they could have gotten rid of the entire first hour of
I agree.
Rogue
I
One
do agree with that. I do agree
with
with
an
that.
opening crawl. It's just like every other Star Wars movie. It's like, this is what's going on. Let's start off with like, these are who the people are. This is what's going on. This is the action. So it's like, girl's father got taken. They're in the middle of a war. Her dad's building the Death Star, and she's got to get a team together of all these dangerous people to go and rescue her dad. Go. And it's like, all right. And you could have a couple flashbacks here and there, but that would have been so much better. Gives you get rid of the entire first hour of the movie. There was so many scenes that were cut with it. Even like the best lines in the trailer were cut from the movie. They cut out so much to just make it a little bit more softcore. And then the audience that tested for it didn't like it. So they added in those Darth Vader scenes, which is the only reason why the movie made $1 billion, was because of scenes that were added after basically the movie was already done. So that way there could be some kind of like payoff action. Like everybody that talks about Rogue One, what's your favorite part? Darth Vader killing everyone. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, gotcha.
Okay, I do agree with that to an extent, but I do think, at least for me, for current Star Wars, it's kind of the best.
So the bar is low.
The bar is low. Yeah, it's very low. I mean, it you know what? It was a competent story compared to everything else we've had. Compared to everything else we've had, it was competent. We got to give it that.
If they want to save Star Wars, here's what they need to do. The best thing to come out of Star Wars since the inception of Rey is that one episode with Timothy Olyphant and whatever show it was, where it's them in the desert place, and then at the end of it, they show the Spice Runner dude and him, and it's basically aliens versus cowboys. Right? Let Timothy Olyphant do his Timothy Olyphant thing.
Oh, I disagree. I thought he's terrible.
Really?
That episode is so
the only
fucking bad.
thing.
But you know what? He's pretty to look at.
No, he's not.
I like his hair so much.
I think it's a wig. I think he's so ugly. I don't get the whole thing with him. And that I know. I'm terrible.
The ladies love Oliphant.
I don't. I do not understand them, ladies. No, they just destroy Cad Bane. That whole scene, I'm like, you whole hype about this character, which anyone that watches the Clone Wars, like,
I agree with that. I do agree with that.
Yeah, for Cad Bane, they fucked.
Well, no, and it's like, okay, so you got some Disney Star Wars character that you want to make popular, so you try to bring in a character that people actually like from the Clone Wars, and then you just throw them away. Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so out of character. But the thing is, Cad Bane was written by competent writers with George Lucas there to supervise them, who is, as much as people don't, can give George shit for, he's actually intelligent. And there was actually intelligent people writing the shows back then. And now you have retarded people writing Star Wars that don't do any research. And they're not smart enough to write these things, which blows my mind, because I'm like, Forrest Gump could write a better story than this. He could. And if he knew the source material, he could tell a really good story. But these people aren't even at the same level as Forrest Gump as far as competency. So
But I think it's pretty universal that the Book of Boba Fett was a shit show.
Yeah.
I mean, just all around it was
Terrible.
bad. Like it started out okay. Like I was kind of willing to see where they went with it, and then I'm like, okay, no, this is done.
I think I was so lobotomized watching that honestly, just seeing Timothy Olyphant just made me happy. So I was like, I can get behind whatever he's about to do. I don't care.
At the end of the day, as long as there's something pretty to look at, there you go.
See, I'm just like, just show me Baby Yoda. Like when he takes a nap next to the Rancor, I'm like,
You know, this is where you and I are 50-50 split. I'm like, man, just kill the fucking merchandising opportunity. 'Cause that's all he is.
I love him so much.
So I will say this about Baby Yoda. I just wish, they just let it go. I like if the Mandalorian season 3 could have been so much better if Baby Yoda was not a part of it. If they had just stuck to their guns, had Baby Yoda go away with Luke, they could have went a completely better direction, different direction. But they relied on that toy so much that it killed the Mandalorian.
I love him.
No one's going to
bitter.
No one's going to watch that movie. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm so bitter though about how badly everything's been handled that I think I won't even let myself get behind Baby Yoda because I don't want to risk giving them money. Because I'd buy a little Pop Funko if I liked him, I guess, or whatever merch.
All right, and so the last comment, really quick.
Oh, that other comment though. The only actor who told Gina to unfollow people or put out statements, I thought was just Pedro Pascal. Timothy Olyphant doesn't get in on any of this. He's not even on social
this one,
media.
yeah. And this is from Spaggy. Spaggy.
I don't even think they worked together. Were they ever on a? They weren't even on the same show.
Who? Gina and Pascal?
No, Gina and yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember Gina saying that, but
no, yeah, Pedro was the only one who gave her advice. But Timothy Olyphant just like he stays in his fucking lane. He doesn't give a fuck about anything else.
You know what? I kind of agree. I feel like he's in his own show.
He is. He gets called in to be a cowboy, and then he goes home to his family, and that's it.
Like I feel like for him, he probably thought he was doing another episode of Justified, and
yes,
except in space.
Yeah, that's how it felt. And I guess too that I'm biased. All right, I love Justified. I read the books too, though. So.
Oh, it was a good show.
Yeah.
Damn good show. And Devin, 2677 for $5 says, careful when you're talking about the Skeleton Crew. Kyle Katarr might show up out of nowhere and lightsaber duel you guys to the bitter end. He is a
lightsaber duel.
He is a fake. He's a fake and a phony.
Yeah.
He runs from fights, and then he blocks people who disagree with him. So
I'm blocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he blocked the hell out of me.
I didn't even know he was
yesterday.
a shell. I thought he was just some asshole online. But then I was
no, he's one of the proper shills.
Never heard of
All
him.
right, so really quickly, before we wrap it up, I just want to talk about this Jenna Ortega thing because I've been swinging a bat for her for a while now. I think she's very intelligent. I think she's making all the right moves in Hollywood. I put her in the same category I put Sydney Sweeney, that I put what's his name from Top Gun and
Tom Cruise.
The Twister movie that just came out. But I feel like those actors are all making great moves, and I think that they're doing the right things when it comes to the media. Jenna Ortega put out this statement in an interview where she says, and this is from Variety magazine, Jenna Ortega says women should have their own franchises and not just spinoffs. I don't want Jamie Bond. I want to see another badass. So what she's saying isn't that profound, right? Because we've been saying it since
what everybody's been saying.
Yeah.
What everybody's been saying. But all of a sudden, she says something big and profound, right? But here's the thing. For someone like her to say it is important. It is important. Like we need stars of her caliber to say this stuff out loud.
It'll be interesting to see, though, how it affects roles going forward.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because no one cares what else YouTubers have to say.
No.
But if someone like Jenna Ortega makes a comment like that, in an interview, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And will it change anything? Probably not. I'm sure they're still going to gender swap and race swap characters, even though it's the most stupid thing in the world. But at least she's kind of putting it out there. And I don't know, like, what favors they think they're doing for people when they do this stuff, man. Like, I look at like how they, race swap characters, and I'm like, you're not doing black actors any favors by doing this. First of all,
they're not trying to, though. They're literally trying to feel good about themselves. All of this comes from a narcissistic standpoint of self-serving ego.
Yeah.
They want to be able to say, I wrote you a character.
But they didn't write them a character. They swapped the
you.
character.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're not intelligent enough to write compelling characters. So this whole thing about, oh, there was never diversity. This is the first time. I'm like, bitch, when I grew up, the top 3 actors were Eddie Murphy, Will Smith, and Denzel Washington.
Morgan Freeman.
Like, well, yeah, Morgan Freeman was, I got a little bit older, but like, it was like, I just remember like all Men in Black. Eddie Murphy was doing all of his kid movies when I was a little kid. So like I grew up with Eddie Murphy in almost every kid movie. And then my parents would always watch Denzel Washington movies because his movies are absolutely fantastic. And then Will Smith. Will Smith was huge when I was a kid and growing up. So it's like 3 of the most popular actors when I was a child growing up were Black. And nobody was batting an eyelash. Nobody threw a fit because they race swapped the character in iRobot and, you know, Will Smith played him. Nobody batted an eye because Will Smith was one of the top actors during that time.
Right.
So, exactly. They would just get people that were popular. Nobody got mad when Harvey Dent was Black in Batman 89 because he's popular. He's a popular actor. They just went with who will put asses in theaters, right? Who's a top actor that will get somebody to watch this movie? Is it Tom Cruise? Is it Denzel? Is it Tom Hanks? Who is it? Let's get the most popular one. Right now, it would be who's the top guy that everybody loves? Idris Elba. Okay, he's going to be in Sonic the Hedgehog. You're in Sonic now, right? They don't just get just in anybody to play him. In Disney Star Wars, I thought that it was great that they were getting, you know, more unknown actors because that's how Star Wars started off. The only one that was a star was like Peter Cushing, and then Harrison Ford had been in American Graffiti, right?
Right.
But Luke, Carrie Fisher was, you know, just Hollywood royalty. She wasn't really famous at the time. Her parents were famous.
No, she was a nepo baby, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But she was good. It doesn't mean you're bad just because you're a nepo baby. I mean, look at Jack Quaid from The Boys. Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan are his parents, but he's good. He's a good actor.
Well, just like sports, it's like, do you want to grit some random guy, some random kid, or are you going to pick Cristiano Ronaldo's son? I might go with Cristiano Ronaldo's son if I'm making a soccer team versus a kid off the street kind of thing.
Look what's happening with LeBron James and his son, right? Everyone's fighting for Bronny James, right? Because he's LeBron James's son. Like, and I'm not saying I'm not saying that should be your look. It's only going to get you through the door. It's not going to keep you there.
Exactly, and that's what
supposed to work.
That's what Ethan Hawke's daughter says. I cannot remember. I think her name is Ellie or something.
From Stranger Things, and she's good. I like her in Stranger Things.
Yeah. Well, she even said she's like, my parents' names will get me through the door, but at the end of the day, she's like, it only gets me so far. I still have to be good at what I do, and I was like, I respect that.
Right, because then you end up with like a Randy Quaid situation. By the way, I love Randy Quaid just on a personal heart level, but he's batshit. But you know what?
Independence Day was great.
But those vacation movies, I love Randy Quaid.
Maya, thank you.
But no, really, I mean, it gets you through the door. I think, you know, look, here's the thing. If we're talking about Hollywood, and I might go off a little bit on this. The thing actors used to have to do to get through the door are wild, man. And the stories I've heard and the things I've seen.
Casting couch.
It was a different ball game back in the day. You guys have to remember, you know, I've met Harvey Weinstein several times. I had drinks with the man. Okay. I've seen what happens when people want to be in something very bad. Okay. Yes, he's a monster. He is a monster. But I'm just saying, at the time, people were lining up for the guy. So getting into business is hard. That's what I'm trying to say. And if you have an in any kind of way, you take it. It's the same thing with anything. If you have an in any industry, you take it.
Unless you're me and too lazy.
I'm just saying, if you have the talent to back it up, however you have to get through that door, you get through that door. Because you know what? Thousands of people don't get through that door. You know, Jenna Ortega, and it was funny to me. I made a post on Twitter the other day where I wrote, she should have been Snow White. Right? I think she should have been Snow White, not Rachel Zegler.
A lot prettier.
She's a lot prettier, a lot more personable. When you look at Jenna Ortega, you get it. You're like, oh yeah, I can see her.
I still wouldn't cast her as Snow White, not because she's not good, but just because I think that there's I would rather see somebody who was German with like a rounder face, maybe, because that's just kind of like what you get from it. Jenna Ortega is very beautiful, but she's also very angular. And I feel like Snow White needs that softness.
I feel like she's got the chubby cheek. Like she's very youthful looking. Like when I see her, I see a teenager. And that's the thing. Snow White is very young. I don't know, but I see a teenager.
And I think she has a personality where you get it. Where someone like Rachel Zegler, I don't know why they went that direction.
You know, I know exactly why. Because she can sing. And she's the DI character that they wanted. And they cast her before West Side Story bombed. And she opened her mouth. So they're like, we need a Latina. Because we're doing Snow White, a character that is literally known for having snow white skin, which go to fucking Mexico City. There's a lot of white ass Mexicans there because they're all Spanish.
There are. I was just about to say that.
Like you go to Mexico City, you'll see more blonde hair, blue eyed people than you will in Los Angeles. So,
yeah, no, it's wild, man. And they could have chose anybody.
My best friend, whose also name is Sav, she is 100% Mexican, and she is the whitest person I have ever seen. Her skin is almost translucent. And I'm like, you could easily go and find someone that's Hispanic and just has super, super pale skin because they do exist. But no, they're like, let's get the brownest DI girl to play Snow White. And it's like, God, you guys are just like, all they care about is race. They're so racist. What are they?
Well, also, I mean, you add to that, you know, Rachel Zegler is an activist, right? They want somebody like that. Now, here's the problem with that. And I made a video last week where it seemed like I was defending Amanda Stenberg. The thing is, I wasn't defending her. What I was saying was the studios use these people for mouthpieces, right? They use these young girls, you know, these activists who want to change the world, and they have their own agenda. So what they do is they use them as a shield, right? While they hide behind them. And Rachel Zegler, at the end of the day, she's young. She's a young girl, and she will probably have a lot of regrets. Same thing with Amanda Stenberg. Amanda Stenberg is very young, and they will probably have regrets later on because of this.
Dude, I googled it. Amanda Stenberg is 25, and I was like,
yeah, she's not. She's young. I mean,
she got a fully developed brain. She can't be excused anymore.
No. I'm not saying she's a kid.
I know what you mean.
But you know, when you're young, you make dumb mistakes. You know what I mean? Like when you think about some of the things you did when you were 25, it's like you cringe.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't agree because I'm around that age, and it blows my mind that we're in the same, I guess, what generation.
No, but look, I mean, I know for me, my thing is, I think the stars, I think Zeus every day that there weren't cell phones around back when I was 25, that there weren't cameras everywhere when I was 25, because the shit I've done, I'd be burned at the stake.
So even from my worst moments and the worst things I've ever said, even drunk, it doesn't come close to some of the things that these delusional individuals think and believe.
Oh no, she deserves everything that she's getting right now. She's taking her lunch. And she needs to take a little more, if I'm being honest, because I don't think she fully gets it yet. But I'm saying the day will come when she gets it. And
maybe with these rich type though, who were born into such wealth as Amanda was, there is a low chance, not zero, but there is a low chance that she ever truly grows up. She will even when she is. If she fails miserably, never gets another role in her life, which won't happen because of Daddy Big Bucks, you know, she will still be fine, and she will still get to be immature, and then she will always get to come back to, I'm a victim.
I wish I could be that black-pilled. I have to believe people, you know, can, you know, learn from their shit, right? Like, because I know I did. At 25, like I said, I made crazy mistakes back then. So thankfully, I grew out of it. You know, I learned from those lessons, and I had to learn the hard way. Maybe she does too. And you're right. Maybe because they're trust fund babies, maybe they won't learn as fast because they don't have to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And I think that's where Jenna Ortega stands out as well, because she's not a trust fund baby. And maybe she's making the right moves because she knows she was lucky to get in the door.
Well, I think that's the big difference is somebody that had everything handed to them versus somebody that had to earn it.
Yeah.
And
She
you
has a
could
love of
just
craft.
well also if Jenna Ortega, I don't know anything about her, but I guess she's not a trust fund baby. Well, that makes sense why she's being as successful as she is, because this is her dream and she has to work for it. Amanda Steinberg got her first job in Hunger Games because of who her parents are. She got this job because of who her parents are.
She's
It wasn't
always
something
been a
she had to
Disney
work
baby
for.
too. She modeled for them.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go, right there. And guess what? I'm pretty sure if she's a child model, it's because of her parents. And so I think Jenna Ortega, it's very, I think like anyone that's worked a real job, like the very first time you get a paycheck, like your very first paycheck, like that means something to you. You'll never forget it. And that's money that you earned versus when somebody gives you like, oh, here's $100 for your birthday kind of thing. Very different versus earning $100 versus receiving $100. And maybe that's just it. Maybe these kids or these girls are just so sheltered. It's going to take a long time for them to grow up, which is unfortunate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Rachel Zegler is a smug theater kid, right? I mean, she'll probably never learn. Who knows? And yeah, she comes from money as well. I have to believe that somewhere along the lines they will. I hope they will. But again, the business is fickle.
Will anybody be around? Because once you ruin your reputation, like you ruin your reputation. It's not like she's the best actress in the entire world where they can have a complete meltdown and call their wife the N-word on a phone call and hope she gets gang raped and still make movies like Mel Gibson, right? like you're not good enough, you're not talented enough to get away with the shit that Mel Gibson gets away with. So
no, and you're very right by that. I mean, she's not. Look here. If we're being honest, Rachel Zegler hasn't had one hit.
No, everything she
hasn't had one success. West Side Story failed in the box office. Shazam failed in the box office. Everything she's done has failed in the box office. So why Disney took it? Well, again, yeah, they probably took a risk on her because they probably thought, well, she worked with Spielberg, so we'll hire her on for Snow White. And now they're regretting every second of that.
And then I bet as much as I love Gal Gadot, they're probably super upset about everything that's going on in the Middle East right now because, I mean, she had to turn off her comments on Instagram when she posted the birth of her fourth daughter, and they were saying your baby deserves to die because free this one country.
Oh my God, that happened?
Yeah. Everybody forgets like that she's like was pregnant while filming Wonder Woman. Like, yeah, she just had her fourth baby at the beginning of the summer, I believe, and she turned off her Instagram comments because it was just people telling her that her baby deserves to die because she's from Israel. It's like
she's a Zionist.
It's not her fault. She doesn't even live there. She lives in America and is making movies. She's not involved. But just because her and her husband happen to be Jewish and they have Jewish children, that apparently means they deserve to die. And then even this Rachel Zegler thing, like Rachel Zegler promoting the movie, then putting, oh, but I'm for this thing, which is the opposite.
Yeah, Free Palestine. I was like, that is such a horseshit thing to do.
Well, she did it because there's the people that are involved in that for some reason that want to cancel the movie because Gal Gadot's in it, and now they're giving her shit to like pressure her into saying that. So of course she is, just like the whole pronouns and bio thing. And so not only are they having to deal with the backlash from Rachel Zegler being a complete cunt, but also they're having to deal with the whole Palestine versus Israel thing with this movie. So I think it's just going to be a huge bomb.
Oh, I'm sure Disney has already written this off. I think it's over. I think that they're just trying to get it out there and be done with it. The thing is, they probably would have buried it if they could, but they can't. Like, they would have did a Batgirl with it. They just would have put it on the shelf and took the tax write-off, but it's too late.
Well, not only that, like when it first, I feel like Rachel, when she did the whole like weird, the prince that was stalking her, and it blew up on, like, I'm not even on TikTok, and I already knew it was like a TikTok trend because that carries over to Instagram. And all of the girls that are like, Snow White is my favorite princess, and this bitch is like talking shit about Snow White. And like, just everyone was like all of the women that this movie is supposedly marketed for, like the women that are her age, that are woke, that believe all of these things, even they were turning on her because they're like, bitch, I love Snow White, and you're calling Snow White like all of these names. Like, you don't deserve to be this princess because she insulted the story. Like, that's, I think, was her biggest mistake. She insulted the story before she insulted the fans.
Yep.
Right. No, yeah, you're right. I mean, she did. And look, the movie was sunk, honestly, even before that. If we look at some of the promo pics that got leaked with the hobos and everything, this movie has been a problem since it started. And Disney has sunk $240 million into a Snow White movie.
Which, you know what sucks is it could have been epic.
It could have been beautiful.
There's some really great, like, not Disney made Snow White movies. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the one with Sigourney Weaver. That one's cool. It's like Snow White. It's Sigourney Weaver, and she's the evil queen, and then Sam Neill is the king. It's a little raunchy, but it's like Snow White, like something of terrors. Like, it's more of a horror movie.
Ooh.
So like the original Snow White, then, like the original story,
the actual story,
kind of, but it's more about Sigourney Weaver and like her point of view as obviously Snow White's a big part of it, but it's like how Sigourney Weaver becomes the evil queen. There's a couple different versions of it, but I loved princesses growing up, so I would any version of it. I'd be like, let's rent it, let's watch it.
Yeah.
And so that one, I'm like, okay, that one's got a little too much like sex stuff in it, but
Savvy's like, now I'll watch it.
Well, it's like Sigourney Weaver like seducing Sam Neill, which is kind of weird, but and then her jealous of Snow White and her beauty and the attention. It's more about like the fact that he pays more attention to his kid than he does her. And that's a theme of like quite a few of the versions of Snow White. But I mean, women can be jealous. Like, that's that's an interesting aspect, and girls like watching that in movies. Look at movies like Mean Girls.
It's easy conflict too. It's so good,
and every woman can relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one.
Oh my God, yeah, Mean Girls was a monster hit, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To this
girls
day,
like that kind of stuff. But no, they have to do. Oh no, let's make it woke, and it's like, no. I mean.
Well, they're going to take a bath on it. So, I mean, they kind of screwed themselves, man. They're losing a lot of money. $240 million for a Snow White movie. That.
And it could have been so good.
They have the technology to make such a beautiful live action.
Dude, even her costume looks like it's from Party City.
It's so sad.
Oh, yeah, no, it looks terrible. God, and those dwarves look sad.
Have you seen all of like the AI, like where people make the AI trailers of like what this could have looked like, and it's a million times better.
That's always embarrassing though, like when you see like a fan, like either a fan trailer or like just an AI that looks better than the actual film. It's like or even worse, when you see cosplay that looks better than the costumes in the movie.
Yep.
That's always embarrassing.
Fans cosplay is even better than the crap that they showed.
Wow.
No, remember a couple years ago when Captain Marvel was coming out and the Captain Marvel porn parody looked better than the Captain Marvel movie?
I actually remember that.
I do remember that actually. Not that I saw the movie or anything or the video, but I do remember something about that.
The poster was better. The marketing was better. It looked better.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But anyway,
I'm gonna have to get going. I was
about to say we're gonna wrap it up right now. And I know you ladies have other things you should be doing, especially you, Anna. You probably need to eat and rest. But before we do that, tell everybody where they can find you.
My name's Anna, that's Star Wars Girl. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Instagram, all under That's Star Wars Girl. If you follow me on Twitter, I warn you, I get into Twitter wars like every other day because I trigger people, which is entertaining to some, but just be warned. I post YouTube content pretty regularly, and I'm live a lot on YouTube and Rumble and Twitch. I'm going to be live in an hour on my friend John Malin's channel for the weekly Jack Show. So I'll be over there in about an hour for all of that fun stuff. And what else do I have going on? Flashcast on Saturday nights. And then I do a show on Wednesdays on Graham Nolan's channel where we go through original Star Trek episodes. But Dante, thank you so much for having me on.
Oh,
And
thank you
Savvy,
for hopping
I'll
on the
see you
show.
on Saturday.
What's that? What's
All right.
happening Saturday?
Flashcast.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been on for a while, but I'm definitely going to try to be there this weekend.
I know. Last time you were on, that was that one stream where I lost my temper.
I think it actually was. My tension break was still the best.
If you knew the backstory, you'd understand why I was that mad.
No, it was understandable. I get it. It's just, oh God.
Yeah. I don't usually lose my temper, but I've lost a little bit more control of it ever since I got pregnant.
Completely understand.
Which is expected.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Savvy, where can they find you?
I'm on Twitter and YouTube. I post data dumps on occasions, but I mostly talk about Pokemon Gen 6 because I'm a weirdo. And I don't really post a whole lot of YouTube videos. I do live stream sort of, but it's not really on a schedule. So yeah.
Guys, if you haven't seen her do Dustborn, please watch it. It's entertaining. Grab a beer, grab some popcorn. It's a wild ride, man. It's a wild ride.
Yelling.
But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for us. I'm gonna let these ladies get to their night and evening, and I will see you guys next Thursday.